Great shifts often begin in hidden places, disguised as ordinary acts of kindness. We live in a world that teaches us to search for greatness in the spotlight, in noise, in applause. But the truth of life, the deeper wisdom, is that the most life-changing moments are often wrapped in silence, hidden in the folds of our daily routines. That rainy night, the nurse didn't know she was stepping into a divine appointment. She didn't plan to meet someone important. She was simply moved by compassion when she saw a stranger, cold and shivering in the rain, with torn clothes and no umbrella. She stopped, not because someone was watching, not because she would be rewarded, but because kindness was already alive in her heart. She gave her own umbrella, covered him with her coat, and even offered him a warm drink from the hospital's vending machine. What seemed small was actually eternal. It wasn't just about rain, it was about purpose. You see, when she stepped out to help, she wasn't just helping a man. She was responding to a test. Life often places these tests in disguise before us. The nurse didn't know that the man was actually the new hospital director doing a low-profile inspection of how the staff and people behave, not in the boardroom, but in the real world. Her action that night didn't just warm his body, it ignited something in his heart. Days later, when he arrived in a suit to take charge, she didn't recognize him. But he remembered every word she said, every act she did. And in front of everyone, he honored her, not because she asked for it, but because heaven whispered it. That's how the kingdom works. The nurse passed a test not written in books or measured in degrees. She passed the test of the heart. Let this be a lesson to all of us. Never underestimate the power of an ordinary moment. When no one is watching, when the spotlight is off, when it's inconvenient and uncomfortable. Those are the times that reveal who we truly are. Greatness isn't always born on stages. Sometimes, it's born in the rain. The nurse's actions were based not on reward but on principle. That is what defines true character, not what we do when people are watching, but what we choose when no one will ever know. In that rainy moment, she saw a man who looked homeless, vulnerable, possibly even dangerous in appearance. Yet she didn't walk away. She didn't question his worth. She responded from a place deep inside her that had already been trained to love, to care, and to serve, not because of someone's status, but because of their humanity. That is the foundation of all true integrity, to do what is right, simply because it is right. In a world driven by what's in it for me, this nurse chose a different path. She gave him shelter from the storm. She gave her time, her concern, and even her hospital ID to help him dry off inside for a moment, risking disciplinary action. But she didn't flinch. Why? Because her values weren't based on reward. They were rooted in compassion. She understood, whether consciously or not, that the value of a person isn't in their clothing, their money, or their title. It's in the fact that they carry the image of God. And when you act on that truth, you don't need to ask what they can do for you. You simply respond in love. Later, when she discovered that the man she helped was actually the new hospital director, a man with the power to promote or fire her, she was stunned. But he wasn't. He had already seen her true resume, not the paper one, but the one written in her behavior, her choices, her heart. He didn't just promote her because she helped him, he promoted her because she revealed what kind of nurse, and what kind of person, she really was. This reminds us all that principle will take you places that power cannot. Money can open doors, but character keeps you inside. Talent may get you noticed, but integrity earns you trust. The nurse's story teaches us that when you live from principle, you never lose, even when it seems like no one saw what you did. Because the one who matters most saw it all. And at the right time, he will bring justice, honor, and promotion, not as a reward for ambition, but as a testimony to your character. One small act in the rain became a harvest far beyond imagination. That is the mystery and the power of compassion, it multiplies. The world teaches us to calculate, to measure what we give and ensure we receive equal in return. But kindness doesn't operate in the economy of this world. It operates in a divine economy, where the smallest seed can produce a forest, and the tiniest gesture can ripple through eternity. When the nurse stopped to help the stranger, she had no idea what would come from it. She wasn't thinking about the future, she was thinking about the moment, about the man standing in the rain. That single act, born in a quiet second, became the catalyst for an entire shift in her life. She didn't give money. She didn't make a speech. She simply chose to see someone's pain and respond with what she had, a coat, an umbrella, and a few kind words. And yet that moment, unnoticed by the world, was noticed by heaven. You never know what your compassion is unlocking. You never know who that person in need will become, or who they already are. That rainy evening planted a seed, and days later, the harvest returned in the form of recognition, promotion, and honor. But more than that, it returned with respect, the kind that cannot be demanded, only earned. This is how life often works. The greatest blessings don't come when we chase them. They come when we do what's right without expecting anything in return. That nurse reaped a reward because she sowed selflessly. The rain didn't stop her, the man's appearance didn't discourage her, and the inconvenience didn't shake her. She gave from a pure heart, and in doing so, she stepped into a divine cycle, sowing and reaping, giving and receiving. Let this be our lesson: we don't need to do great things to make a difference. We just need to do small things with great love. That umbrella, that moment of kindness, became the bridge between obscurity and elevation. Your seed might be small today, but when planted with love, even the smallest act can produce a harvest that changes your life and the lives of others forever. Compassion never dies. It grows. It multiplies. It returns, often in ways we never imagined. Every person may carry a destiny that touches nations. Treat them like royalty. This truth is often hidden from the eyes of the world, because we've been conditioned to measure worth by appearance, status, or popularity. But the divine principle is very different. The one who appears weak today may be a leader tomorrow. The one who stands in rags may be clothed in influence. When the nurse helped the man in the rain, she didn't know his name, his position, or his background. But she treated him with honor. That honor became a prophetic act. It recognized the value in someone before the world acknowledged it. Too often, we miss divine opportunities because we overlook people who don't look important. But history shows us that the world's most powerful figures often walk in disguise. A carpenter's son became the savior of the world. A shepherd boy became king. A prisoner in chains became the prime minister of Egypt. Destiny is rarely visible at first glance. It hides beneath the surface, waiting for the right time to be revealed. That's why we must treat every person, not just the famous, the rich, or the influential, as if they carry something sacred. Because they do. When the nurse gave that man her coat, she covered more than his body, she covered his dignity. She offered more than warmth, she offered respect. And when he was revealed as the new hospital director, her action stood as a testimony that she didn't treat him well because of who he was, she treated him well despite not knowing who he was. That is true honor. And that kind of honor is rare. If we learn to treat every stranger as a potential king in disguise, we will live with a spirit of excellence. We'll stop asking, "What can I gain from this person?" and start asking, "How can I serve them?" And in doing so, we will find ourselves blessed in ways we never imagined. Because when you honor what seems small, heaven will entrust you with what is great. The person you help today may be the person God uses to open a door for you tomorrow. Every person matters. Every life carries purpose. And every act of kindness, offered without bias, invites miracles into your own story. Hidden acts done in secret are seen and honored by the Most High. In a world consumed with visibility, likes, shares, and public recognition, we are slowly losing the value of doing the right thing when no one is watching. But heaven operates on a different system. While the world watches the stage, heaven watches the heart. The nurse didn't post a picture, didn't take a video, didn't even tell anyone about her act of kindness. She simply saw a man in need and responded from her spirit. It was a private moment. A quiet choice. A secret act. And yet, it was powerful enough to change her destiny. That is how the divine works. The things we do in secret are never wasted. They are recorded, not on paper, not in media, but in eternity. The nurse didn't need an audience, because her heart was already aligned with what was right. And when the time came, her reward didn't come from people's praise, it came from a higher place. The man she helped, who turned out to be the hospital's new director, saw her heart when no one else was looking. And in that moment, heaven's reward found her. Not because she demanded it. Not because she expected it. But because she deserved it. This is a reminder that your private obedience is more powerful than public display. When you give quietly, when you serve faithfully, when you pray secretly, when you love unconditionally behind closed doors, those are the moments that build legacy. That is the soil where miracles grow. The world may never applaud you, but heaven never forgets. We must not allow ourselves to be discouraged when no one notices the good we do. Because the one who sees in secret is preparing a reward that is far greater than any human applause. And in the right time, in the right way, it will come, not just as recognition, but as honor. The nurse never asked for promotion. But she was promoted. She never asked for favor. But it found her. Because her life testified of truth, what you do in the quiet places determines what God does in the open. Let that truth guide us. To live not for approval, but for purpose. Kindness is not weakness. In fact, it is one of the greatest strengths a human can possess. We often associate strength with control, with dominance, with the ability to assert power. But the deepest strength is not in how much power you hold, it's in how much love you can give even when no one is watching and nothing is promised in return. The nurse in the story showed us this kind of strength. When she stepped into the rain to help a soaked, weary stranger, she didn't know his background or his status. She didn't offer help because she was commanded to. She helped because kindness was part of her nature. That kind of kindness takes courage. It means being vulnerable. It means giving, even when your own resources are limited. That is not weakness, it is strength in its purest form. The world often tells us to be hard, to be selfish, to protect our own comfort first. But if the nurse had followed that logic, she would have walked past him like everyone else did. She would have chosen her own warmth over his need. But she didn't. Her strength lay in her compassion, in her ability to feel, and in her willingness to act. That single choice set something powerful in motion. Because kindness may look small on the outside, but it has the ability to shake entire systems. In her case, it reached the heart of a man who held influence over the very institution she worked in. That one act revealed something deeper: kindness builds trust. The man knew, without any resume or interview, that she could be trusted with more. Why? Because if she cared for someone she didn't know, how much more would she care for those around her every day? That's the kind of person you can rely on. That's the kind of person the world needs more of. True kindness isn't soft. It's brave. It doesn't wait to be asked. It moves when others hesitate. It lifts when others ignore. And it leaves behind a trail of transformation. The nurse didn't know that she would be honored. She didn't know that she was helping a man who could change her life. But her kindness spoke louder than any title ever could. And in doing so, she proved that kindness, far from being weakness, is the quiet force that changes the world, one act at a time.